Hey friends, I hope your week is off to a great start. Today we're going to be trying out Molly Baz's recipe for Blackout Chocolate Banana Bread. So a couple weeks ago I made BA's best banana bread and you all really seem to enjoy that recipe. So I figured why not do another banana bread. I've got more bananas who are well past their prime, so I'm really excited to try this one out today. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. So in the bowl of my stand mixer, I've got the light brown sugar. To this I'm going to add my room temperature butter. Now, if you don't have a stand mixer, you could do this in just a bowl with a hand mixer. That would be totally fine. The butter is soft, and as usual, I'm using my scraper beater. I talk about it all the time, so I don't need to say anything new about it today. So I'm gonna just slot this on here, and we're gonna mix this on medium-high speed for 4 to 5 minutes until it's light and fluffy. So while the butter and sugar are creaming, we can go ahead and prep the dry ingredients. So in a large bowl, I've got my AP flour, whole wheat flour, baking soda, baking powder, and kosher salt. Now to this, we're gonna sift in some unsweetened cocoa powder. I'm using Dutch process, but you could use natural process as well. With cocoa powder, you always want to sift because there will almost always be lumps inside, and that's just not a great situation. So you can just push those through, just trying to get them broken apart. Awesome. Now we'll whisk this to get it all combined. So this is nice and uniform. We can set this aside until we need it. Next, we're going to go ahead and smash up our bananas. Now, the recipe does call for 5 bananas. You put 4 inside of the batter and 1 on top as decoration. I don't really care for the aesthetic of having a whole sliced banana on top of the bread. Plus, I accidentally ate my 5th banana, so I'm going to make do with just the 4 today. However, if you want to do the banana on the top, by all means, go ahead. So then using either a potato masher or just a fork, you can go ahead and smush these until they're a soupy consistency. So our butter and sugar have been creaming for about 5 minutes at this point, and you can see that this is super light and fluffy. This is, I mean, it looks like buttercream icing almost. It's super airy. So I'm going to scrape the beater off here and we can move on to the next step. All right, so now that the butter and sugar are nice and creamy, we can go ahead and add the eggs in. And just like with BA's best banana bread, we're going to do this one at a time, mixing thoroughly between each addition. So egg number 1. So nice and incorporated. Egg number 2 going in. All right, so this is the texture after the 2 eggs and the butter. So this is nice and smooth. To this, we're going to add in some sour cream. If you don't have sour cream, you could use plain full-fat yogurt as well. Adding a little bit of vanilla extract. And then on the BA's best banana bread video, I did get a question about whether adding the bananas at this point or adding the bananas after the flour was a better method to do. So interestingly, this recipe is the inverse of BA's best. So we'll get to see the end result here. We can go ahead and scrape the banana into the bowl as well. All right, now we're going to get this mixed together to combine. The recipe does call out that the mixture may look broken at this point. So when you have a recipe that has a lot of moisture content like this, you'll sometimes see the recipe call for an alternating creaming method. So dry, wet, dry, wet, dry. And that way you can get all of the liquid incorporated without having the mixture split apart. So you can see here, this is really like curdled and soupy and kind of gnarly looking. That's happening because there's so much moisture inside of here. However, this will come back together once we add the dry ingredients. So now over low speed, I'm going to slowly incorporate these dry ingredients. And obviously you don't want to overmix this. You're really stirring just until everything's combined. All right, I'm going to do a quick scrape here and then we'll mix it one more time just quickly. All right, cool. So that is fully incorporated there. You don't want to overmix this for a couple reasons. So 1, overmixing creates a tough cake, but 2, we also have to fold in some chocolate chunks. So if you're fully mixed here or if you're overmixed here, it's only going to get worse from here on out. So be a little bit on the conservative side with your blending. All right, so I've got a 60% cocoa bittersweet chocolate bar chopped up into pretty small pieces. If you want to use chocolate chips, that would be fine. If you want to use chocolate wafers, that would be fine as well. If you want to skip it, probably fine too. So we're just going to fold these chocolate chunks through. This is a good opportunity to scrape the bowl, make sure you didn't miss anything. And I think that looks pretty well incorporated. And now here in a standard loaf pan, we're just going to scrape the batter in. And I will leave my affiliate links for all of the products I'm using down in the description box below. So if you want to have the exact same loaf pan, or you like my mixer, or you like the spatulas, I will have it all linked down there for you. So the prices are the same as if you were to buy it just regularly on Amazon, but if you go through my link, I'll get a little bit of a commission for referring you. So if you do that, thanks in advance. So I'm gonna give it a little shake just to kind of settle it down. Then the final step here is to sprinkle a tablespoon of demerara sugar over the top. So demerara sugar looks kind of like sugar in the raw. It's just these sparkly sugarcane crystals. If you don't have demerara sugar, by all means use sugar in the raw. If you don't have sugar in the raw, just granulated sugar is fine. Alternatively, you could entirely skip this step. The cake has over a cup of sugar in it already, so it's plenty sweet. And notice I'm calling this a cake. It's hard to call this banana bread when it's, I mean, this seems like a cake. We'll see when I taste it whether this feels like a bread at all. But I mean, I think we've crossed the line from quick bread into just a decadent cake, but I mean, that's okay too. It's quarantine time, so chocolate banana cake is just as good as chocolate banana bread. Perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this into my preheated 350-degree oven for 65 to 75 minutes until it's fully cooked. You're looking for a toothpick inserted into the center to come out cleanly. So my cake baked for a total of 68 minutes. Now I'm gonna let it cool on a wire rack until it's room temperature. The banana bread's been hanging out at room temperature for a little over an hour, so it is just about to room temperature, and this is the finished product. So you can see it's super dense inside. It looks really, really fudgy. The top of this has a nice sparkle from the demerara sugar, so I really like the appearance of this. You can see little fudgy bits inside where the melted chocolate is kind of pooled up. It smells absolutely delicious, and I cannot wait to give this a try. So I'm gonna go right into it. Mmm. I like that little crispiness on the top of the crust. Incredibly rich. You can definitely taste the banana. The amount of chocolate in here though, I don't know if I can call this banana bread. This feels like a chocolate cake with banana in it. We're really pushing the envelope for what's considered a quick bread with this recipe, I think. Wow, incredibly moist. It's so tender, so chocolatey. Surprisingly not overly sweet with over a cup of brown sugar in here. I expected this to be a little bit over the line. Overall, really happy with the chocolate blackout banana bread. I will say this definitely feels more like a cake than a bread. So this is not something where I would have this for breakfast or for lunch unless I was having a really bad day. It definitely feels much more dessert appropriate. However, it's absolutely delicious. And I guess it feels a little bit healthier than normal chocolate cake because I mean, at least you do have some fruit in here. So I guess that's something. So if you're in the mood for chocolate cake and you've got some bananas that are about to turn on you, this is definitely a solid option. So I really hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up and click subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next week.